How do you solve knife crime? How do you finally get to that point of solving knife crime? We've been here so many times. Keir Starmer reckons he's onto it. Yes, he says he has a moral duty, he says, to sort it out and will halve it in 10 years. Now, just let that point settle for a second. Halve it for not good enough in 10 years, breathtaking. It'll take you what the hell are you going to be doing in 10 years, Keir? If this was Singapore or Dubai, they'd be talking about eradicating it in 10 minutes. The Labour leader said tackling the problem would be an absolute priority for his government if they win power next Thursday. Well, will it? Proposals include backing custodial sentences for the most serious cases of knife possession, with tougher sanctions also being drawn up. I want to laugh because I've heard all this guff before. A scheme will be set up to identify at-risk youngsters to support them into turning their life around. That's like being tough on crime, but tough on the... yeah, that. Any future Labour ministers will extend the list of blades banned for possession, and there'll be a rapid review of online knife sales. It's been done. Figures show, of course, knife crime offending up 81% since 2015, with sharp rises outside of the usual major towns and cities. This is a grim picture, and I sense it is completely solvable. How do we solve the knife crime epidemic? 0344 499 1000. Can you just give us a shout on this one? You can throw in a voice note if you like, if that's the quickest way for you to get in touch. Do it that way. That's totally good. And we'll play as many of those as possible. But if you've been affected by knife crime in some kind of way, that puts you in a very pivotal position to make a response on this. I am bemused. I have said this many, many times. I think I'm right in saying I've interviewed every Home Secretary since Jack Straw back in the Labour days. I actually haven't interviewed Cleverly, but Braverman, Priti Patel a number of times, Theresa May a number of... I mean, the list goes on. And every one of them said this stuff, OK, in varying ways. They all say, we're going to take the bad knives off the street, we're going to get kids, we're going to identify the problem areas and all, and it really comes to nothing. And tell me if I'm misplaced on this, because nobody, as far as I know, has really tried this. And that would be something far more straightforward. Firstly, you amp up stop and search. At such a rate, these characters won't know what the heck has hit them. I don't care whether they're black, white, brown or anything else. You get into those areas where you know there's a knife crime problem and you stop these characters as regularly and as often as you can. And if you catch them with a knife, I don't care whether it's a pen knife, a flick knife, a zombie knife, you're going to the chiller for the next 5 years. Now, tell me why that wouldn't at least begin the process of getting it to work. My only compromise on that would be this, because we discussed this before. Whatever happened to ankle tags? What do you call? They're called ankle tags, aren't they? Security tags. You know, those things you stick around a criminal's foot when they've done something wrong. What's wrong with a robust curfew and a tag? Would that not at least, again, begin... I'm not hearing anyone. Why did Starmer... You'll hear the interview with Peter Cardwell a little later here on Talk, around about 5-ish with Jeremy. If he'd said that, right, what we're going to do, every time we catch a first-time offender, they're going to get tagged and there's going to be a curfew. And the curfew will go on for a year. And if you're outside of that curfew, bang, then you're in prison for the aforementioned 5 years. Can someone with a straight face, quite seriously, that sounds like... I can hear somebody in the higher echelons of government going, well, if it was that easy, mate, we'd be doing it. Do you know, I don't think you would. I think politicians are scared sometimes to state the obvious. They're scared to state what everybody is really thinking. We see it with immigration all the time. They just won't come out with it. Every now and again you come across a politician or a political party that do come out with it, and everyone scratches their head going, well, why are they suddenly gaining popularity? Because they are speaking the language of the everyday person. Is there anyone on planet Earth that would disagree with the fairly crude but brute assessment I have just made of how you would at least begin the process of dealing with knife crime? And do you know what? If in a couple of years' time you come back to the board and go, yeah, we tried that. We tried the 5-year thing. We tried the ankle tag. We tried the curfew. It didn't actually work. Think again. Fine. But since nobody's tried this, and it does sound to me like a fairly efficient and swift way of dealing with a problem that is killing young people on a daily basis, then I reckon that's got to be worth a go. I also think that ankle tags and curfews are infinitely cheaper than sending somebody necessarily to jail and going through other prolonged legal courses. So that would be a start, right? That would be the beginning of something here.